Hello and welcome back to Harrison's Happy Hour. Jacob, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great. A little tired. Had a 3-hour drive back home, but nothing spectacular. No accidents. Nothing gory on the way.
Thankfully. Well, there's no ice on the roads. That would have been about the biggest concern.
Oh yeah, it's always bad. When it snowed, there was probably 5 accidents within 30 minutes.
Yeah, it just snows, and I guess half the world forgets how to drive. Normally how it goes. Oh man, Jacob, you were telling me something earlier. What was this about a new fighter jet Japan is making?
Yeah. So according to Popular Mechanics, this is a slightly older thing here, but I saw a newer one. It's from November. Apparently, Japan is building a next-gen stealth fighter jet, and it's going to have microwave weapons.
You say microwave weapons?
Microwave weapons.
So does that mean that when it's, cooking people alive, does that mean it's going to be cold in the center? Everyone's just going to be cold in the center.
I certainly hope so.
So
maybe it'll just make your skin a little warm and tingly,
That would
like
make you very uncomfortable. That's all it does. It just sends heat like in microwave waves, and it's just slowly cooking everyone. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's kind of annoying." Just take a cold shower, fixes it, step out, and then you're just going back to being microwaved. I wonder. So, what does this microwave weapon do? Does it talk about it? I mean,
I haven't seen a whole lot of info. Just people have been throwing around the word microwave weapon. From what I gather, from what I've read so far, it's going to be, they suspect, kind of in the radar nose cone, and it's going to be used for air to surface attacks.
Ooh, air to surface attacks. So instead of sending ballistic missiles, they're just going to start microwaving people alive.
Oh, I'm sure it'll still have missiles. That would suck. You brought a microwave to a fight. What are you going to do? Throw your Hot Pocket at me?
Yeah. Whenever they're bored. The microwave broke down. Oh, don't worry, man. I have this nice, $5 billion, private jet that the government made. It's secret, though. It's secret. Don't show anyone.
Top secret. Shh. You can't tell anybody.
It's like roasting marshmallows on, the back of the, jet. Except this time you can do it in the front. You can cook your Hot Pocket on a stick.
Yeah, apparently they have picked Lockheed Martin to develop its new fighter jet.
Really? So, isn't that an American company?
I do believe so. Let me look that up real fast.
Yeah, it's a aerospace and defense company. It's American, yep. Defense, Armed Security, and Advanced Technologies. But it has worldwide interest, it says.
Yeah, well, it's not surprising to me. We're allies with Japan, or last I knew, we were.
Well, I think we kind of forced them to be allies after we essentially, nuked 2 of their major cities. I think they feel a bit pressured.
Oh, we did help. To my knowledge, we did help them rebuild, so that helps.
Well, by rebuild, we just threw some KFCs and fast food restaurants, right in the middle of all these nuclear zones. Isn't KFC now a massive part of Japanese Christmas tradition?
I've heard that. I'm not sure how true it is. I'd love to believe that that's 100% factual, because I think that's a fantastic idea. Why not have chicken on Christmas? Fried chicken.
Here it is. Kentucky for Christmas. Some reports say that Takeshi Okawara, I probably pronounced that wrong, managed the country's first KFC and later became CEO of KFC Japan, falsely marketed fried chicken as a traditional American Christmas food to drum up sales. But according to KFC Japan, Okawara went to a Christmas party dressed as Santa. So it looks like false advertising essentially led to mass use of KFC during the holidays. Kentucky for Christmas. Meanwhile, in 2017, the host of the Rising Sun Show, a 30-minute TV show produced by the U.S. Army Garrison Japan Public Affairs, interviewed a KFC Meister who said the concept caught on after a foreign customer asked KFC to deliver fried chicken in a Santa Claus outfit on Christmas.
That's fantastic. I love that. So I did find this stuff here. So Apparently, it will include remote drone control capabilities, a virtual reality style helmet mounted display, along with a radar that can double as a microwave weapon. Okay, yeah, that's where I was reading it. So it's like part of the radar. So according to the reports, its weapon, they believe, might actually just, instead of being with the radar, it might actually be part of the radar, like built into the functionality of the radar system, allowing it to fry missiles. So the idea is that to like fry electronics, essentially. Although
okay.
there is potential to kill or injure people or animals, but I think the main idea behind this is to fry electronics.
Okay, so it's essentially just like a long-ranged EMP, essentially. Yeah. Okay,
like
that seems a lot more.
Yeah.
That seems a lot more practical, because I figured it was just going to be like essentially just a weapon where where like they were just glassing the surface or something.
Yeah, so there's some nice information about this. It's categorized as a directed energy weapon, or DOES, or DO. It is a ranged weapon that uses highly focused energy, including lasers, microwaves, and particle beams to damage targets.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Apparently, it's the way of the future.
I think I like that use for essentially frying electronics more than trying to burn people alive through microwaves. Yeah. So you were telling me something else as well, aside from microwave weapons on jets. Something about like patents. You're starting to list off like really weird patent trolls.
Yeah. So there's some weird stuff going on. Patent trolls have been a thing for a long time, but they kind of disrupt the global market with their shenanigans and strong-arming legal tactics. But one of the ones that's posing a bit of problems right now, they've set their eyes on some high-priority targets, mainly just touchscreen manufacturers in the U.S. So from what I've been reading, and I can pull up the article here, it's an Irish-based patent troll who is claiming that people like Dell, Microsoft, I don't know if Apple was named, but like Samsung, have infringed on their patents with some of their like smart devices with touchscreens. And what they're doing is it's like a catch-20. They say you can either basically not do this anymore or just pay us a bunch of money.
Yeah. I think, isn't that really the whole point of patent trolls, is just to like make the most obscure patent they possibly can, and then as soon as like the technology is either like created or improved upon, don't they just sue straight out the ass for money?
Yeah, it's terrible. There was another term for these companies that I'm trying to remember. It's I think NPE is the term. A non-practicing entity is, I do believe, the term
I think you're right
can
on
be
that.
slapped on these guys. Basically, they hold patents, but they do nothing with it, and they make the majority of their money through suing other people for quote-unquote infringing upon their patents, which usually have nothing to do with the original patent at all. It's just a far-reaching legal tactic to get money for doing literally nothing.
I'm looking here at something called the 10 craziest like patents ever created. And one of these is essentially a urinal headrest.
Oh, no.
So it would be placed above, like, the urinal. This was done in 2004. It would provide a padded support where users could rest their head while relieving. And in this picture, it has, a diagram with a man standing up and resting his head against this urinal headrest.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't think I'd be using a urinal headrest.
There's too many heads will have touched that.
I know. It's like
hopefully
using
only one kind of head, because that would be a little nasty.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's already gross enough kind of pooping on a public toilet. I mean, when you think about it, all the asses that have sat on that lid.
There was a flying machine patent in 1869 by a man named W.F. Quinby.
I mean, that's not a terrible patent. There's another one here that I'm looking at. It's patent number 269,766, and it's called the rodent blaster. The device contained a firearm that could be aimed at the opening of an animal burrow. When the animal emerged, the gun would fire, supposedly killing the animal. And in this diagram, it looks like a Colt revolver is resting on this like wood set. So you have the grip of the gun is like all the way back, and then the barrel is resting on these two support like wooden supports. And there seems to be some sort of string or pulley system attached to the trigger that looks like it's resting on a pad. So you set that outside of like a mouse hole, and then as soon as the mouse steps on it, the gun goes off. I don't know about you, but I think that would be absolutely terrifying. I mean, think about that. It's the middle of the night. This was patented in December 26th, 1882, I believe.
Oh wow, that's really that'd be a pretty
there's a
firearm.
full like old-timey sketch and everything. So let's say, it's 1 a.m, everyone's asleep in your house. You're in the middle of like the prairie. And the next thing you know, just a gun goes up.
So here's my problem with that. What happens if you forget you set that up and you go to check, just like peek your head in the burrow? You just happen to walk past it to peek your head there to see if, like, the rodent's in the burrow. Are you going to get shot?
I don't think so. I mean, you're setting this in essentially the entrance of the hole. So It's not like you shouldn't get injured. You shouldn't. There's another... Man, these are so weird. This one's called a Beer Brella. This is patent number 6,637,447. That's a lot of patents. And this one, it's talking about how it's annoying whenever the sun warms up your beer. That's why there's our patent for the Beer Brella, an umbrella that attaches to a bottle to shield it from the sun. It also keeps out the rain if you're drinking outdoors.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, yeah, this one's pretty practical, I guess. So it has 2 little clamps, and you hook it on your bottle, and it holds up your umbrella. But, like, it covers up, I guess, the neck and, like, the opening. So how are you actually supposed to drink anything out of it?
You don't.
I mean, I guess at least it's keeping it cold. I don't know.
So I did find that article. And basically, the real problem with patent trolls right now is they've invaded. I say invaded, but they're just bombarding the U.S. International Trade Commission, the ITC, with these requests. And so what you can do is, I don't know if I can find the exact term here, but basically, there's a thing that the ITC can do that will bar a company that has supposedly infringed from having their products distributed in that area, so the United States. And the company in question is called Neodrin or Neodron. And it was Apple. So it's calling out all major global tech. Apple, Microsoft. Okay, so including Apple, Microsoft, and Dell, but not limited to just those companies. It's asking that the ITC grant an exclusion order barring these companies from selling all their major touchscreen mobile devices in the U.S. market.
Wow.
That's a big hit. They either have to do that or pay them off.
That's why, they're going to pay them off. Even though Microsoft, Apple, all these massive tech corporations have some of the best lawyers in the country, I don't think there's a lot you can do.
The issue is they probably could win the case with the ITC, but the issue is, what if the ITC sided with Neodrin? What if? If there's even the slightest chance, the whole market is messed up.
Mm-hmm. Then you have to make an entirely new design, which is nearly impossible. Is the patent more or less for when you touch on the screen? Like the screen has to, interact with your touch? I'm not
finding any information about what the supposed patent is, but I was doing some other digging, and apparently it might have to do with OLED technology. But again, it's all... it's confirmed that the issues that they're having isn't from a practicing entity. It's an NPE. It's a patent troll. They're not actually using these patents for anything. They've made some kind of vague patent and are trying to get free money.
You got to give them credit to them. It's there for a reason. You patent an idea and hope to make it your own.
I think
But
that's the issues with these patent trolls, and some people are pushing to have NPEs pushed out of the ITC to where basically people want regulation, and I could go along with this, to keep non-practicing entities from having a voice in the ITC or bringing forth issues. Because when you think about it, they do nothing for trade. They don't help. All they're doing is harming the economy.
I know, absolutely. I think that would definitely be a good idea.
Because if this were to go through, it would make the prices of phones skyrocket. You wouldn't be able to buy Apple phones, Google phones. I don't think Dell has phones, but I know LG. You could probably still get Korean-made phones like Samsung and LG, maybe. But then again, maybe not. But prices would definitely go up, and it would hurt.
Well, as I said, you're going to have to fight some of the greatest attorneys in the world, in America. But I don't think that'll ever happen. All right, I think it's an vote.
It's still kind of developing. I don't know if they've resolved it or what's going on. I'm assuming they're just going to get paid off.
Oh yeah, big tech will always win. Speaking of technology, I was watching Lord of the Rings last night, and I just forgot. Like, I started thinking. I was like, man, the history of CGI is crazy. Like, CGI is still fairly young. I mean, like, some of the first practical uses of it were probably 1971, I believe, was the first piece of CGI. But the most prominent, like, use of CGI ever was in Westworld. Not the television series that's been, the modern television series. It's the original 1970s sci-fi western. Like, CGI is insane. I mean, movies, the process of developing movies now digitally is just insane. Like, watching the most recent Star Wars trilogy, the CGI is just amazing. And comparing it to like the original the sequels and the prequels and stuff of Star Wars.
Well, not the prequel CGI, but the CGI that was done, added in for no reason in like Star Wars.
Oh yeah, the remasters instead of the puppets. Oh god, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
It wouldn't be so bad if we were on like an old CRT standard definition TV, but compared to the rest of the stuff, it just doesn't upscale and it looks bad.
I know, you could tell that it just doesn't fit in.
I like that scene of Mos Eisley Spaceport where C-3PO and they're all there in the land speeder and they're coming in. It looks like hot garbage.
Yeah, I've always been a real proponent of puppets being used in Star Wars because to me, Star Wars was really heavily like the sequels. Like the original trilogy is Star Wars. Prequels, they're okay. Some of them were kind of bad, but they're okay. The newest ones,
Episode 3,
has a
lot of memes. It's fantastic.
Episode 3 is fantastic. Episode 1 was pretty bad. Episode 2 is okay. But like the newest trilogy, I don't count. But yeah, seeing them essentially remaster the original trilogy and try and add in CGI instead of puppets, it's so out of touch. Because you can obviously tell that modern CGI is not the same as it was back then. So whenever, the series The Mandalorian came out, I was worried that they'd have all these CGI'd characters, and they actually stuck with puppets because Baby Yoda, what people call him, is a puppet. Because there was talks of him being CGI, but the director of The Mandalorian said, no, I refuse to make him CGI. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Because no, it just doesn't hold up. Even if it would look okay on today's screens, like most CGI that comes out, you can make it look okay for today's screens. But as resolutions improve, that CGI is not going to hold up.
Yeah. Actually, I was learning about a few dead actors who were brought into movies using CGI, because sometimes there are cases where actors die before they're done recording the final takes of movies. And obviously the most popular one I could think of was Carrie Fisher in the most recent trilogy, when she died in 2016, and they released the last of the trilogy last year, or was it 2018?
When the trilogy ended?
Yeah, the newest trilogy.
I think that was last year, yeah.
I believe it was last year, yeah. I was kind of worried when I learned that she died, because I'm like, well, what's going to happen? Thankfully, they had enough clips where they didn't, like, they already had mostly everything recorded before she died, and I think they had to do, like, a bit of CGI in a few scenes. But the most, like, prominent one of dead actors being brought back with CGI was Brandon Lee in The Crow. It's a cult classic pretty much, but he was actually fatally wounded on set just a few days before they took their final shoot in 1993.
I think I've heard about that, and it was like he got killed by a blank, yeah.
Yes. Actually, I have it.
Bruce
I have it right
Lee's
here.
son, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, here it is right here. He was in the scene where, so during the recording of the scene where he died, his character is shot and killed by thugs, and his fellow actor Michael Massey's character is supposed to fire a Smith & Wesson revolver at Lee when he walks into the room. So what happened was dummy rounds were loaded into the revolver, which is a bullet but no explosion, so it helps the close-ups of that shot look like a normal-looking bullet. But the dummy rounds were replaced with blank rounds, which use live powder charge and primer, but it has no bullet. So it makes it look like the gun was actually fired. But what happened was the bullet from the dummy round, before they replaced it with blank rounds, had been separated from the cartridge, and it lodged into the barrel, and no one saw it. So in that scene, whenever the blank round was fired, the bullet lodged in the barrel was propelled with close to the exact same force as an actual live round, and hit him in the abdomen. And I believe, I think he was supposed to fall forward, I think, in the script, but he ended up like falling backwards. And everyone just thought he was still playing the role in that scene, he's still in character. And then eventually the medic came up and realized that his heart had like abruptly stopped. That is actually pretty crazy. So what they did was the director wanted to finish the movie after the deaths, and he used Lee's stunt double as a stand-in. And to help make it look like Lee, they used some dark lighting and some strategic shots to help make the CGI of Lee's face on a stunt double look more natural. So that, when you watch that movie, like essentially that last half, you're looking at CGI of him, but it just looks natural.
Dang.
And it's impressive. As I said, it's impressive how far CGI has come, because there's a lot of good CGI and there's a lot of really bad CGI. Like, I know whenever people are watching like older film, like 70s or 80s film, like some of the CGI in there is just awful. The acting is much more different style than what we have now. And like when you watch something, as I said, like the newest Star Wars trilogy, and you go back and watch the original, just the CGI is so insane. It's so cinematic. It's impressive. It's comparable to how far computers have come in the last like 20 years, from taking up like half of buildings to being as small as our phone. Isn't it something like we have the computational power to send like a rocket to like space on our phone?
I mean, our phones have more power than what put man on the moon. It was a really, really slow machine that was on board and did that.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't it like
not like at NASA, but the computer that was on the spacecraft that landed on the moon? Our phones have more power than that.
That's insane to me. I mean, our phones are so powerful. Computers, like laptops, there's so much that we can do with them. But most of the time, we're just using them, to consume some type of media, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, things like that, or just stuck using it for school.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, software has become more demanding as well. So it does kind of keep lower end hardware kind of in its bracket.
Yeah, I'm interested to see in the next 5 years how powerful like these chips get.
I mean, AMD's got has mobile processors now that have 8 cores and 16 threads. 4 years ago, if you told that to someone, they would probably laugh in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Because chips are just so much more efficient now. Doesn't use as much power, doesn't put out as much heat. You don't need a bulky computer. You can have that in a small little notebook.
Yeah, one of the most important things I see whenever it comes to new technology, when it comes to like batteries and I guess chips and other things, is how much heat it gives off. Because whenever something gives off heat, obviously you're losing energy somewhere along the line. And in the newest Teslas, the new batteries that they're trying to make for the cars, they're going to be tabless, which I believe increases the car's range by about 10% or a bit more. And it also helps like reduce the amount of heat that the batteries produce.
That's good.
And I think that's very interesting.
Heat in electronics is just wasted energy.
Because anytime you make energy, it has to go somewhere. Like you can't just create or destroy
if
energy.
If it's unable to be used, it'll usually get turned into heat.
But I thought that was really interesting. And then another thing that I was thinking about while I was watching The Lord of the Rings, because once I started like thinking about CGI, I started thinking about other things like all the parts of movies that weren't scripted. You know, like because there's a lot of scenes in movies that we don't realize are scripted. You know, because a lot of people, like when they're method acting or they're just in character, if they do something on accident, it sticks. And I think that's something really cool about movies. One of the most obvious ones I could think of was, have you ever seen Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
Yeah, well, anyways, remember that scene where he's has that chase to the kibosh and he's trying to run after that girl? I can't remember her name right now, but he ends up running to that guy, the swordsman, where he's just swinging around his scimitar and doing all these like flamboyant tricks. Yeah, and then he just looks at him. He just gives a disgusted look and just pulls out his fighter or his revolver and just shoots with a blank. You know, because obviously that's shooting with the real gun. And the director just stuck with that. And I thought that
wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, because apparently the weather that they were like, the weather was like 130-degree heat there, and at that time apparently he was fighting dysentery. Harrison Ford was. So he was like, he just said, "Screw it, I'm done with it." So he told the directors, like, "I'm just gonna shoot him."
So it was supposed to be like a hand-to-hand combat scene.
I think so.
I think so. Great.
That was really cool. And then another one that I thought was super cool. This one kind of goes into the horror genre. Jaws, the original Jaws. Dude, Jaws is so influential to the horror genre because in like that entire first half of the movie, you don't see the shark. They just allude to the shark being there. Yeah. And everyone's just terrified. I think it was a week after like that movie came out, beaches were empty, like coast to coast. They were just empty.
Well, that's one of the main reasons that people are so scared of great white sharks.
I mean, I'm scared of sharks.
From what I've heard, great white sharks actually are usually not super. I mean, they're territorial from what I've heard, but they're usually not just going to go out and kill you for fun. It's that they've mistaken you for food.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, most creatures are terrified of us. I think in the wild, most, not all. I mean, a bear is a different story, depending on which bear you encounter.
Also, I've heard that if you do encounter a shark and it's trying to attack you, punch its nose because it's full of nerve endings and they don't like that. So
I thought it was punch its gills. I thought it was punch its gills.
That might work too. I've heard nose works.
I mean, punching it in the lungs probably helps.
Yeah, I mean, that probably wouldn't feel great now.
No. Oh, dude, imagine like shoving your hand in like a shark's gills. Ugh.
I'm afraid. I'm not gonna lie. Gills, like fish gills, kind of scare me. like even as someone who's gone fishing, like sure, I'll grab it by the gills.
I think I'm just grossed out more or less because it's essentially just openings in the side of its body.
Well, yeah, but there's also, you know, like some of them they're like spiky, you know.
Oh yeah, isn't it bluegill that like kind of have
those
spiky spines?
I hate them. I hate those fish. I hate them.
I don't like catfish. Their whiskers, aren't their whiskers pretty dangerous?
I don't think so. I thought think so.
No. I thought hold on. I thought catfish's whiskers were dangerous.
What? I don't think so. If they are, that's news to me.
Here, catfish whiskers are harmless. Okay, never mind.
Okay, that would have been really funny. He's like, oh my god, I've been playing with fire.
Oh, it's their fins. The areas of concern in regard to being hurt or stung are the dorsal and pectoral fins. Because I thought that if like they whipped you with your whiskers, that like stung. No,
No, that'd be pretty funny. That takes hillbilly hand fishing and just puts a nice danger element to it.
Oh no, now that hillbilly hand fishing, that is
you
impressive.
will not catch me doing that. One, it's actually illegal in most areas, and I'm pretty sure it's illegal almost everywhere. So definitely wouldn't advise going to do that.
I have an issue with being in water that I can't see. Like, you won't be able to see your feet, and then shoving your hand in holes.
Some people use their toes.
Oh, ugh. Oh gosh, that would be awful.
Yeah, you would not catch me doing that.
No. Anyways, back to Jaws. In one of the first scenes where I think it's the scientist Brody, Chief Brody, is his job, is to get rid of the shark. In an attempt to keep down costs, the producers were pretty stingy because, having an animatronic like shark in seawater where it broke down constantly was just a pain in the ass. So, anyways, apparently the catchphrase "you're gonna need a bigger boat" became the cast and crew saying for anything that wasn't going well during that time, and the director tried to ad-libbing the line during a few different scenes, like getting the actors to do that during the filming, but the one that made the cut was when he first sees the shark, because I don't know about you, but when he first sees the shark, it's pans
massive.
down to the water, and it just comes out of like the dark, ocean, and it's huge.
Yeah, I love that scene. It's like, you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Because because it turns around, it just does a 180, and you just see his just wide-eyed with the cigarette about to fall out of his mouth. Oh my gosh, dude. Even though it's animatronic, I would still be absolutely terrified of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Luckily, I'm sure its biting force is nowhere close to an actual shark's, but imagine if you like had your hand in the wrong place and it like snapped shut or something.
Yeah, even the scene where like the shark's eating the boat and like the guy's sliding down, that's pretty terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I think the biggest thing to keep in mind whenever you watch older films is realize that the film is older. Because when I was talking about like people have an issue with watching older films, it's like, oh, this looks terrible, or like the acting is terrible, or like the CGI is terrible. I'm like, yeah, you can't compare it to modern day. Like, I'm sure if it was remade now, it'd be a lot scarier, because CGI makes it so much more realistic.
Because here's the thing. Animatronics, for the most part, will always look better than CGI. I know a lot of people who did not enjoy Jurassic World because it was, to my knowledge, all CGI or mostly CGI, and it looked like hot garbage compared to the original.
I think I saw Jurassic World when it first came out, and I thought it was good. But it just didn't have the same feeling.
That scene in the trailer of whatever it was, like leaping out of the water, did not like the look of it.
Oh no, that was pretty interesting.
I don't think it looked very good.
I thought it looked exaggerated. That's my thing.
Yeah, it didn't look. It was. I think where they went wrong is I think they over detailed it.
Fair
and it
enough.
looked wrong against the rest of the movie. It looked too good compared to the scene, and it just kind of made it stick out.
I think I can agree there. I think there's becoming a far spread line between modern day cinematography and real life perspectives, because there's just so many like uses of lens flares and obnoxious coloring nowadays, and a lot of your bigger films, like bigger promoted films, like excessive car flips in your action movies, unrealistic explosions.
Michael Bay.
Exactly.
I do admit, though, I love Michael Bay's films. The explosions, good. Love it.
Oh, I haven't seen that many Michael Bay films.
I think it's 8 Underground with I hate myself for forgetting his name. He played Deadpool.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. I don't know why that escaped me. Great movie.
I think one of the most realistic films I think I have seen recently was 1917. Did you watch that?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely excellent. It's recorded in essentially one continuous shot. So there's essentially no jump cuts. There's the occasional, there's like a scene where like everything gets encompassed in dark because like a tunnel collapses, but it's still in like that real time.
Is that the movie with the two soldiers and they're trying to deliver the message about the attack
Yes.
being? I have seen that movie. I saw that a while back, actually, the last time I was in town. That was a good movie. I take that back.
That was fantastic. I saw it with a group of people in theaters, and that movie was amazing.
I wish I would have seen that in theaters. I watched it on my parents' television the last time I was in town.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not movie of the year. I think, let me look up. It was 2019. Let's see what one movie of the year. I think it was Parasite, wasn't it?
That's something I haven't seen either.
I guess I'll just go to Time magazine, because that's really okay. Scrolling down. Number one, apparently, according to Time, was Pain and Glory. I've no idea. All right, but there was a lot of really good movies in 2019 that were released. Parasite was a really good one. The Irishman, Uncut Gems, Marriage Story, Midsummer, The Joker, Jojo Rabbit. I did not see that one. I really wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't see Jojo Rabbit.
Knives Out.
I've seen part of The Joker. I need to finish it.
Spider-Man, Far From Home. And then you get into like some of the Pixar movies and stuff. What? Oh yeah, Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Is that Is that like more live actiony Dora?
Yes, I am glad I did not see that.
It's really funny.
It was funny, really.
Yeah. So there's a YouTuber I watch, Chase 2 Cents. Just gonna give him a shout out. Great YouTuber. Who said he watched it with like his kids, and he said there was like a point in there where like they nodded to the fact that she's basically insane.
Really?
Like, yeah, they like. I can't remember what exactly it was, but he says like the director kind of like they like hinted at the fact that she's basically a schizo.
Okay.
Just like she did that thing where she like turns and looks at the camera, and then her family just like, from what I've heard, like whoever was around just like kind of looks at her like really confused.
Oh, okay.
About like what she was doing.
Yeah, that's another thing is the remakes of like all these classic films in live action. Like Aladdin, I didn't like the live action Aladdin.
I have to say, I didn't like the remake of The Lion King.
I did not see that because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't fit the theme. Because when I watched the trailer, it looked like they took this bright sort of happy message of the Jungle Book and like The Lion King. Like they're kind of vibrant and light and just tried to make it really dark and edgy. Like for no reason. Yeah. It doesn't look or feel like a kid's film.
And it kind of sucks because it's almost like I get Disney like wanted his movies to be remade, but I feel like doing them in that manner kind of takes out credit to the people who took all the time to do all those old hand-drawn animations. They were hand-drawn. It takes a lot of time.
I know. As I said, it's supposed to be a kid's theme. It's supposed to be a kid's movie. And when it gets turned into this live-action, CGI'd out the ass, it feels like it's being forced into a darker message because there's a lot of sort of darker animation. Like, wasn't there like a jaguar or a panther in the Jungle Book? And like in the trailer, he just was a terrifying presence. Yeah. And in the cartoon, he's like, oh, he's the bad guy, but he's colorful, you know? And then in the Aladdin, the live-action, I mean, the CGI was pretty good, but it felt forced. It just felt extremely forced.
I haven't seen the new Mulan either. I'm really partial to the old Mulan movies. I have to say, some of my favorite. I've seen a little bit of Mulan too, but the original Mulan I've watched many times. One of my favorite Disney movies of all time.
Okay, so I looked up movie of the year 2019. So Green Book apparently won Best Picture. And then Rami Malek won Best Actor for Bohemian Rhapsody. I I didn't see Bohemian Rhapsody, and I didn't see Green Book. So
I didn't see either. I've heard Bohemian Rhapsody was amazing though.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I mean, I'm sure it was absolutely like brilliant, because it's a hard to essentially live someone else's life, like look exactly like them and act exactly like them. But here are some of the things I'm looking at. Let's see, where was performance by actress?
I didn't see the Elton John one either.
Oh, here it was. Best animated feature film, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now that is an excellent movie. Yeah. That was insane. Getting a comic book style in a movie, animated movie, down to the T. I hope I see something else like that soon.
I hope they continue. It was an amazing movie. Mm-hmm. It's going to take them a while to make another one, of course, but I hope they continue.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Achievement in film editing. Bohemian Rhapsody won that. Best foreign language film of the year was Roma. Best foreign language film of the year. I figured that would have been Parasite, because everyone was hyping that up. Because I thought Parasite won something, and everyone was like upset because it wasn't like an American film because they weren't speaking English. I know a lot of people were upset about that or something.
Oh, boo-hoo.
I know.
That's a stupid thing to get upset about.
Yeah, best motion picture of the year among the top contestants was Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice, and Green Book won that one. I didn't see it. I don't know what it's about, but I have an issue with a lot of modern films. There's a lot of things that I see in the trailer, and then it feels like I've already watched the movie, and then I don't have to watch it.
Yeah, I do. I hate even. I have some gripes with YouTube as well, because there are some YouTube videos that they'll throw up a funny scene beforehand. And there are some times when I think it's a good time to do that, but there's other times where I think that they ruin, like, part of the video when they do that, because it makes way better sense in context. It's funnier in context, and then when it happens, you know what's going to happen. Like you were expecting it.
Yeah, that's an issue. I think, as I said, in all these trailers, you get like, oh, here's kind of our character, and then, oh, what's this? Here's like the plot twist in the beginning.
Yeah, if you show anything beyond the first 5 minutes of the movie in the trailer, you're doing your job wrong, I think.
Yeah.
I'll extend that to 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Anything past that, I think it's a bit of a stretch. I don't think you should do that. I think it ruins the movie.
You kind of ruins the whole like rising action thing. They like to show the rising action.
Problem. It ruins the rising action.
And then it's like, well, I know this is coming. I mean,
like, oh, surprise.
It's like, oh, wow, I didn't know this was happening at all.
Like, take for instance, the Marley and Me trailer. Like, I realize it's an old movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a dog. It shows a little bit of it, but it doesn't ruin anything.
Yeah. I don't think it shows anything like him, because was it the dog gets cancer or something?
I can't remember. But
I remember watching it.
He gets sick, but the thing is, like, they don't show anything like that. They show part of him when he's a puppy, him running around the house, and then I think they show a tiny bit when he's a little bit older, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. I think it just kind of shows him being just a dog. Like, it doesn't really show him getting sick and then dying, I think, in the trailer.
Yeah, because I mean, if you show like that, that's like a major turning point in the story. If you show that in the trailer, who wants to watch it? Oh, I know what happens. Well, if your dog gets sick, he's probably gonna die. What happens?
I know, like, as I said, like, if it's like, oh, here's a clip of him, doing something funny as a puppy. Here's him being like, pretty funny still as like a 2-year-old dog. The next thing you know in the trailer, like, but this happens, and then it's like, and then it's like him at the vet, like about to die, and it's like, well,
they got the syringe out. They're getting ready to
like that just do the ruined
right
it.
There. It's like, oh my god, no.
It's like now I have to wait until we get to this scene, and I'm like, okay, well, you've ruined everything up to this point. What happens now? Then it just feels like you're paying to see essentially a third of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to make trailers. It's hard to make movies, but come on,
I
guys.
get it. I hate to dog on people, but that's something that I think needs to change.
Do you think that trailers are being suited for us because we live in a like we want it now type of culture?
Maybe.
Like
But
people want things now.
Personally,
People want to be in the
I
know.
prefer a trailer that piques my interest, not ruins the movie. I get incredibly mad at people when they ruin stuff for me.
Mm-hmm. Like 1917, when I saw that trailer, what really hooked it to me was just showing like that, oh, this is a continuously shot film. They showed like a bit of like each scene, like essentially change of like scenery, but they didn't like give away spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. They don't give away the fact that one of the other guys dies, because I think one of them dies. Yeah, he gets stabbed by the German. Was it a German pilot?
The German guy. He was like, "Oh, I need water," and then the other guy leaves him, and then he turns around and he's being stabbed.
Yes. Yeah.
As the German guy's like dying on the ground.
Yeah, I say they're all dying. They're all dying.
It's a bad time. War's terrible.
Yeah. But all right. Well, I think that's enough rambling about spoilers in movies that you see in trailers ruining that. I think that's really enough of the podcast. Actually, we went pretty far this time. All right, Jacob, anything you want to say to the viewers before we sign off?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I'll say eat your leafy greens. Drink some water.
Drink some water. Drink water. It's important.
And remember to tune in to the next happy hour.